Hello and welcome to Valuechain News. I am Naomi Oleribe. First, the headlines. Why federal government should remove fuel subsidy. Soludo. Diesel price may hit 1,500 naira a litre. Marketers. Nigeria to spend 5 trillion naira on fuel subsidy in 2022. World Bank. And now, the news in detail. Governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, has kicked against retention of fuel subsidy in Nigeria. This was even as the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) Limited said payments for petrol subsidy cost the Federation account 1.217 trillion naira in the first 5 months of 2022. However, Soludo noted that fuel subsidy should be charged from the federal government and not subnationals, arguing that the subsidy ought to have been removed and non-removal could cause the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) to spill money. Soludo, who made this known at the launch of the Nigeria Development Update (NDU) by the World Bank Group in Abuja yesterday, emphasized that the solutions to Nigeria's problem were obvious and not far-fetched. He said, federal government decides that it wants to subsidize premium motor spirits (PMS), also known as petrol. Why do you have to charge it from the subnational states? You should charge it from the revenue of the federal government. About 75% of filling stations across the country are currently out of business due to their inability to purchase diesel required to power their tankers and transport premium motor spirits, also called petrol, to their various outlets, oil marketers stated on Tuesday. Marketers also stated that the cost of diesel would keep increasing and might hit 1,500 naira per litre in the next 2 weeks if nothing drastic was done to curtail the current challenge faced by importers of the deregulated commodity. Dealers under the aegis of the Natural Oil and Gas Suppliers Association, NOGASA, told journalists in Abuja that this was also the reason why petrol scarcity had failed to abate in Abuja and neighboring Nasarawa and Niger states, among others. Speaking on behalf of the marketers, the national president, NOGASA, Bennett Corrie, stated that the only solution to the current challenge was for the federal government to raise the pump price of petrol a little in order to reduce the huge foreign exchange used in premium motor spirits imports. This, he said, would eventually free up some forex for diesel imports, a development that would impact positively on the rising cost of diesel, stressing that the product was currently sold at 850 naira per litre. Highlights in the latest World Bank Nigeria Development Update (NDU) has disclosed that the country stands to lose more than 5 trillion naira in revenues in 2022 from crude oil sales. This was part of the revelations during the presentation of the UDU report in Abuja yesterday. According to the report, when we launched our previous Nigeria Development Update in November 2021, we estimated that Nigeria could stand to lose more than 3 trillion naira in revenues in 2022 because the proceeds from crude oil sales, instead of going to the Federation account, would be used to cover the rising cost of gasoline subsidies that mostly benefit the rich. Sadly, the projection turned out to be optimistic, said Shubham Chowdhury, World Bank Country Director for Nigeria. With oil prices going up significantly and with it the price of imported gasoline, we now estimate that the foregone revenues as a result of gasoline subsidies will be closer to 5 trillion naira in 2022. The UDU report explained that the inflation in Nigeria, one of the highest in the world before the war in Ukraine, is likely to increase further as a result of the rise in global fuel and food prices caused by the war. Nigeria is no longer Africa's top oil producer following an abysmal oil production output in May, the biggest decline among its peers at a time oil was trading at $121. The latest update will further deepen Nigeria's financial crisis, as it means the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) Limited could spend a huge percentage of its meager export income to pay for its fuel importation, according to data obtained from the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries (OPEC). Nigeria's oil production reduced by 195,000 barrels per day to 1.2 million barrels per day in May from 1.22 million in April, based on direct communication. Part of the OPEC report reads crude oil output increased mainly in Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Kuwait, while production in Libya, Nigeria, Iraq, Gabon, and Iran declined. Preliminary data indicates that global liquid production in May decreased by 0.15 million barrels per day to an average 98.75 million barrels per day compared to the previous month, it added. Crude oil spot prices recorded solid gains in May, buoyed by strong physical crude market fundamentals. This is according to the June 2022 edition of the OPEC Monthly Oil Market Report released yesterday by OPEC. The report stated that tight oil product markets and high refining margins have prompted refineries to increase throughputs, boosting crude demand, specifically for light sweet crude. Planned and unplanned oil supply disruptions in several regions contributed to tightening fundamentals. The OPEC reference basket increased by $8.23 or 7.8% to settle at $113.87 per barrel. Oil futures prices rallied in May, driven by tightening oil products markets, near-term global oil supply risks amid continued geopolitical tensions in Europe, as well as the prospect of a firm recovery in demand after Chinese authorities started to gradually ease COVID-19 related lockdown measures. On the world oil demand, growth in 2021 remained at unchanged at 5.7 million barrels per day, while creating prospects for the second half of 2022. The report stated that current geopolitical developments and uncertain rollout of the pandemic towards the end of the second half of the year continue to pose a considerable risk to the forecast recovery to pre-pandemic levels. Government representatives, quality regulators, cement dealers, block makers, and end users have rated Dangote Cement as the best in Africa. This was reviewed at the workshop attended by the Kano State Government Standard Organization of Nigeria (SON) and block makers, among others, in Kano State on Tuesday. The stakeholders who attended the meeting also said the ongoing nationwide workshop and sensitization of block manufacturers will help check the menace month of collapsed buildings in the country. Speaking at the workshop, representatives of the Kano State government, Alhaji Mohammed Garba, said that Dangote Cement PLC is not only the biggest company but produces the best quality in Africa. Also speaking, the regional director, Kano Directorate Standard Organization of Nigeria (SON), Mr. Albert Wilberforce, urged block molders to patronize the quality cement produced by the Dangote Cement PLC. Before we end the news, here's a recap of our headlines. Why federal government should remove fuel subsidy. Soludo. Diesel price may hit 1,500 naira per litre. Marketers. Nigeria to spend 5 trillion naira on fuel subsidy in 2022. World Bank. And that's the news. I am Naomi Oleribe. Good evening.